We continue to follow today's major developments in the Sean Combs trial. The jury today delivering a mixed verdict.
The disgraced music mogul was acquitted of the most serious charges. And of course, now the question is, will he be released on bond today? A hearing set for about half an hour from now. 5 o'clock.
Yeah, this morning a jury of 8 men, 4 women found him guilty of 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. He faces up to 20 years in prison. Combs was found not guilty on 3 other charges, the most serious charges, including the top count of racketeering conspiracy.
Now, defense attorneys are pressing the court to release Combs on bail. They say guarantors will put up $1 million bond to allow Combs to reunite with his families, but prosecutors, not surprisingly, vehemently disagree. And Cassie Ventura, who was, of course, the star witness for the prosecution, along with another witness, they are pleading with the judge to keep Combs behind bars until sentencing. Ventura says he poses a danger to the victims who testified in this case, including herself.
Outside the courthouse today, it has been a circus. Some supporters chanting, "Let Puffy go," while the NYPD installed additional barricades and shut down traffic in that area in preparation for what could come next. Now, joining us now is Kyle Denis, a staff writer at Billboard. Kyle, thanks so much for joining us this afternoon. First, let's just start off. What is your reaction to today's split verdict?
I was pretty shocked. I think, as most people were, I think we were expecting a uniform verdict, if that was going to be possible. But seeing the split verdict is kind of reminiscent of seeing the split opinions and reactions across the industry today.
And have you had much of a chance to speak with others in the industry about this verdict in the Combs case? And what kinds of things are you hearing from them?
So I've been able to speak to some other, reporters, some other writers, but we've been seeing some early reactions from artists in particular. Rapper Boosie Badass said this was a great day in hip-hop history. Lil Scrappy said, "Amen, free Diddy," because he sure didn't commit no RICO. Tiny Harris said that people just want to charge him for being freaky. But then you have, sports journalist Jamil Hill, who was like, "It's going to be truly uncomfortable seeing so many people cape for Diddy today. The verdict is what it is, but it is not a victory." Kesha sent out a tweet of support to Cassie, saying that she believes her and that she loves her and that her strength is a beacon for every survivor. So we're seeing, across the board, very different reactions from very different artists.
You mentioned Cassie Ventura. I want to get your opinion about her testimony and how you think her coming forward, her bravery coming forward, is going to, what kind of impact do you think it might have on the entertainment industry? I mean, here she is standing up against Sean Combs, who was a powerful, influential entrepreneur.
I think we already see the impact of Cassie coming forward in the guilty verdicts that we got today. Without her initially coming forward and filing that first lawsuit, the prosecution, really helped build their case off of what she was able to give them. So I think going forward, we're going to see a lot more people questioning these kind of relationships between young artists and moguls and making sure that everything is safe and everything is practical and ethical. When these partnerships happen, because clearly they could turn into something a lot more sinister like this one was.
So the Combs family is celebrating today. He could have faced life in prison had he been convicted on some of the more serious charges. And you mentioned that people are saying not a day to celebrate. Is there a future for him in music at this point? I mean, he likely may serve some time with the 2 charges. But what is the future? How do you see this impacting, what he's managed to build outside of course,
Can he rehab his career?
I think in the same way that we didn't see many of his biggest peers and most famous friends stand up for him during the trial, people probably won't rush to bring them back into their circles. I anticipate that he probably goes the streamer podcast route to begin rehabilitating his image there. I think the trial and the footage that we did see of him beating Cassie probably tarnished him too much for an unassuming return to the Diddy that the world knew before 2024. In terms of how he will move musically, I wouldn't rule out some kind of First Day Out song that feels like a very Diddy stunt to pull. But I also imagine that he puts his kids at the forefront of whatever he's doing musically, and he puts all of his might into recruiting the biggest guest stars possible to cover up his own stunt. So I think he'll be able to rehabilitate himself in some kind of way, but the shadow of this will always follow him.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, he's certainly a master at cultivating an image, which he has done very effectively in his career. All right, Kyle Denis of Billboard magazine, we really appreciate you taking the time to chat with us this afternoon.
Thank you for having me.